Okay, so now for the Singpath folks. This is Chris and Sandra. Anybody using Singpath? Does everybody know what that is right now? Anybody use it so far? In the corner up there. Oh, you have hands already. That's great. Well, I'm not going to kill the surprise, so you guys can talk about that. Okay.
So who here attended PyCon Asia when it was here? Okay, a couple of people. All right.
Okay, very good. Okay, are you ready? My name is Sandra, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Singpath, and then we're going to do a quick demo. So, I worked for IBM for 10 years, and last year I stopped working at IBM because I moved here to Singapore, and I told Chris, I am going to start a company. He said, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to start a company, I'm really excited. He said, well, okay, what are you going to do? And I said, it doesn't really matter what I do. What I need is one awesome developer. I need one guy, one girl, one awesome developer, and I can rule the world. He said, okay, that sounds great. How are you going to find that developer? And that was my question, my sticking point. Because the idea, I can come up with ideas. Money, Singapore, there's a lot of funding, or we could just try to make money as we go. The coder, my technical guy, the developer, that is the most important bit, I think, for starting a company. And so I did a lot of...
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
Just fill time, just spam.
Got it. Okay, so I did a lot of research. I put this in my picture. A lot of research. So I sat down with a piece of paper, really, and I have 10 years of experience at IBM. I started as a startup in the US, 3 postgraduate degrees. I can do some research. So what I really need my picture.
You're very adaptable, though. I really like
Yeah,
that.
thanks. I appreciate that. So just so you guys know, I'm a really huge sci-fi fan. And so my research was based on sci-fi. And what I looked at was in the history of sci-fi movies and books, I found my answer. How I was going to get my perfect person to help me start my business. And so I started thinking about, have you guys heard about The Last Starfighter? It's a movie.
That's for people of my generation, not necessarily.
No, mine, right? Because I'm so much younger.
Yours, yeah.
Yes, of course. So Alex Rogan is this dude and plays his game, and then he beat the Armada and he saved Earth. Okay, awesome. That's the guy. That's the type of people I want. I want people who are going to just work at something and save the world. The next bit of research, the Ender Wars, Ender Game.
Anybody ever read Ender's Game? Okay,
totally
a few more. If
you haven't read it, you have to read this book. So this little dude is a little dude, and he goes to academy. But what do they do there? They play a game, right? And at the end of the game, you know what he does? He saves the world. He does. He saves the world. Next, you have Eli Waz. For those of you who are a little bit younger than what I've been talking about. So anybody Stargate fans?
Anybody seen Stargate?
So Stargate was really, they were in trouble. They were stuck. They could not figure out the 9th chevron puzzle. So what did they do? They built a game. That's what they did. And this Eli guy, he solved it. So, next slide please. I decided that when I'm looking for the best person to start my company, what do I need to do? I need to develop a game. So that's what we did. Thank you. So we developed a game. And this is for developers, for hackers, for students. The objective of this is that people have the most fun practicing several languages. That's the motto, that's the mantra. That's what we aim to do. So this is what we're going to show you. Just a little background. We did a tournament. We haven't actually launched the game. This is like a beta still, but we did do a tournament at PyCon Asia, and we had a lot of fun. We actually gave out, not we, but PyCon Asia gave out an iPad as an award, and we're going to continue doing tournaments with our game. So follow us on Twitter at Singpath, and you'll know when new tournaments are coming up, and we'll have prizes and things for you guys to play with.
Okay, so this one's not in the same order. I had a reboot. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, so at the tournament, what we did was everybody logs in and they started playing the game. I'll show you a little bit of the game before. And we had these little check marks popping up as people would solve a problem. And now when you do a tournament, the leaders move to the top, just trying to make it more interactive. Because a lot of us spend a lot of time coding all by ourselves, on a program, or maybe paired programming if you're a little bit more social. So it's fun to get a lot of people together and code all at once. So what happens in the game, and I'll show you the live demo here in a second, is you pretty much come in and there's some simple questions, asks you to, write a function that does something. So many people in here are, probably more on the advanced side of developers, but we've actually done this at high schools, done it at one of the polytechnics here in town. So that's another thing too. If you're ever interested in throwing a little tournament or just doing something a little bit more fun for a class or a training session where you have developers, that's something where this tool might be interesting.
And the idea also was that when you have developers who are experienced with whatever language, they know the logistics behind it, but they might not know the syntax. And so playing our game helps you learn another syntax really quickly.
Yeah, so, for example, there's also, for people who are not in a tournament setting, just sort of working along on their own or practicing, this is like our path progress page where you can see that, I've solved, 111 of the 152 Python problems that are available. So what happens in a given level, like the current level I'm on, as I solve a problem, I get a little check mark. And really what we're trying to do is take anything that you think makes it fun to spend more time practicing a new language. We want to try and incorporate that. If it's check marks, if it's getting badges and leveling up, if it's rankings. A lot of us in here play games. We're trying to take those fun elements and bring it to a task that maybe is a little bit more productive than playing World of Warcraft. Maybe not, depending on your job. But I actually am a practice professor at SMU, so I think a lot about this. How do I get a student to spend 20, 30 more minutes practicing Java rather than going off and, doing something else that may be less productive? Because if I can make it more fun, I think the students will spend a little bit more time. We have people from all sorts of different countries play, so this is a little bit dated, but Singapore, of course, has the most people because we spend more time talking to people in Singapore, but it's spread outside of Singapore as well. The game's global. That's one of the nice things about App Engine. The moment you push the app up, you're worldwide. First time I ever really played it with other people, there were 15 people playing in Singapore in December, and I had already gone back to the States to see family for Christmas, and I was sitting there playing along in this game with the students who were playing here in Singapore, and I said, wow, that is like the easiest I've ever gone global in my life, because I've deployed a lot of apps over my career, but with App Engine, once you get it working on the platform, you just sort of get that for free.
Yeah, and that was key for me. I'm from Colombia. And, I didn't want to do something where, only the people around me could play. I wanted to be available for anyone, wherever they are, regardless of their background or regardless of what they do or where they do it. If they have access and connectivity to the internet, they can play this game and sharpen a skill and get better at something that they enjoy doing, which is awesome.
So feel free to go in and play sometime on your own if you want. If you really get into it, some people will start playing and they can't seem to stop. This one surprised me. There's this guy from Japan, a blue sky detector, in 1 week solved 144 problems, which is really all the ones I think he was allowed to get to at the time, because I think we were working on some of the others. So we see that it's a variety. We have the people who already are great computer scientists, but they've never learned Python or they've never learned Java, and they're just learning the syntax, and they tend to learn very, very quickly and move up because they already sort of know how to do the algorithms in their minds.
And check it out. Number one is a girl. Just want to say that. Number one is a girl. That's right. That's right. No, I said that she's going to get bumped. I know it. But I mean, she's a girl.
Yeah, we also have students who it's a totally different profile. They'll do like 10 problems a week just to get ready for that week's content that they're studying in class, and they'll move up very slowly over time. So Generally, App Engine, for me, I've most enjoyed, I've never been like a real sysadmin. When I have to get into the bash shell, I'm just not as comfortable. When you do things on App Engine, I never deal with OSs anymore. I don't worry about antivirus. I don't worry about all that stuff that a sysadmin's more qualified to do. I don't worry about leaving open security holes, which I'm sure I would do if I was doing much sysadmin work. I really get to work at the app level, at my content. I just write the Python code. This is actually written in Django, so it's all Python code for me. No XML configurations, a little bit of YAML, but not too much. So that's one of the things I think you might enjoy about it. For our particular app here, we're running a lot of untrusted code. If you guys go play this afternoon, you could pretty much type anything into that code box. So we needed nice sandboxed environments. So there's ways we were able to architect that in Google App Engine pretty easily. Scalability we talked about. Multiple languages. We started off with Python. Now we're developing Java because we're going to use that a little bit at SMU. We're talking about doing JavaScript because that's another language we find a lot of developers want to dive into and learn very quickly because they want to use some new API or some, like we saw today. A lot of the code we saw on the screen was JavaScript, right? So just getting yourself comfortable with that very quickly might be interesting to some people. And then the other thing about scalability, one was worldwide. I like that. I like when nobody plays, the whole app just ramps down and it costs me nothing. I've actually never gone over my quota. I'm looking forward to the first day that we get to pay Google $1. We haven't gotten there yet.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah. And for the tournament, I was really interested. It wasn't going to scale up because you're going to walk into a room and go from almost nothing to 60 to 70 people hitting submit very quickly one after another because they're all racing to see who can get done first and who's going to win that iPad, right? And we went to 50 requests per second, which I don't know that anything I ever wrote personally ever went to 50 requests per second at all. But this was great because it went from like 1 per second maybe to 50 per second right away, and it all just scales up and somehow the magic works.
Yeah, you need to open up the browser. That's where setting it mismatches.
Well, I thought this was my browser.
Just hit cancel a bunch.
Cancel.
This was what was recommendation.
Okay, so we are doing a new GUI, and that's going to be launched, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. So this is the beta version, but it's really, really cool. But just, again, follow us on Twitter when I launch the new look and feel. The idea is to have a very software networking type of thing where you can invite friends, you're going to get badges, you're going to have achievements. It's going to have a different look and feel, but this is what we have for now.
So pretty much you can log in with your Google ID, and then you can click on, like this is the Python path that we're looking at here. I actually clicked on the level 1 just to do a quick live demo here, which is problem set 1, which I've actually done them all before. I'm currently working on level 11, which I haven't completed yet. I actually didn't write the questions myself, so I actually have to sit down and learn as I go. Nice big Let's Play button here. And when you click Let's Play, all it does is go out and say, what are the problems that you've answered the least in this problem set, or if you've never answered them before, it'll start you from the very beginning. And, different people in this audience will have different levels of Python skill, but, if you've got a little bit of programming experience, you go, okay, let's see what am I supposed to do here. I read the description. Bob, thanks for the help. Oh, I see, you're giving me some of the code, but it's not quite done. Let's say you get it wrong. I'll do one failure. What it does is there's a lot of test case that we run, both public test case and private test case. But when you run a public test case, it'll actually come back and tell you, hey, I expected this, but you gave me that. Sort of like in Java, you'll have like an assert equals. It'll give you some type of feedback. So I'll correct that.
But again, level 1 is very, you're just getting started, right? You're just getting used to using the tool, as well as just, knowing how to write the syntax.
And in the tournament environment, it's a little bit more high pressure, right? Because it's not that they're hard problems, and it's not that you don't know how to write the code out, but it starts being typing error-free code rather quickly. Gets a little bit more challenging. Okay. And so you'll go through and lots of times you can do this 3 problems at a time, 5 problems at a time, and when you're done, it'll bring you back, and you've got more check marks if you hadn't done it before. And so that's just a quick demo of what the gameplay looks like. Okay, so that's one of the things that we're working on. Another thing that I recently started up with some friends is you can get going very quickly on App Engine. So we just launched this thing called 8squirrels.com. This is really targeted at kids who are like 19 and under in Singapore who we're trying to find ways. They have dreams, they have ideas. It's amazing these thoughts these kids have, but they don't really know how to get started, right? Like, I want to go make a CD and put it on iTunes. I want to go create a nice movie and put it on YouTube. I want to go create a website, right? And so we're trying to figure out how do we find mentors and answer questions that these kids might have and maybe even help them along a little bit. And the other thing is some people they're a little short of funding. Hey, I want to go put on this show or put together this craft, but I need to raise $50 or $100. And my mom won't give it to me or something, right? So we wanted a way that people could actually come and fund the ideas of Singapore youth. So that's really the idea behind 8 Squirrels. If you know someone who's 19 and under and you think that they have a cool idea, I'd recommend you show them this site. If there's somebody who's asking you for $50 or $100 and you want them to do something maybe more productive and assert themselves, this would also be a way you could send them to 8 Squirrels. Say, hey, I tell you what, if you can raise half the money on 8 Squirrels, then I'll give you the other half. So as a parent, that's something I'm interested in as my kids get a little older, is how do I not just give them money straight out, I have them go do something. And I don't really care what it is, I just want them to be able to exert a little bit of effort rather than just be used to saying, hey Dad, can I have a little bit more money? And so, with 8 Squirrels, one is if you know kids who have ideas. 2, if you want to be a mentor, we'd love to talk to you. We're sure there's going to be lots of requests for domain knowledge that we won't have as the current group that we're working with, so we can add mentors as well. And the idea is just all the money that comes in, we're going to be very transparent and show which ideas got funded, similar to some other funding sites that you've seen out there. And once again, with App Engine, it was really from idea to first up and running prototype in less than a week.
Okay, so call to action. Follow 8 Squirrels at 8 Squirrels on Twitter. For Singpath, it'd be great if you guys could just follow us as well for future tournaments. So we'll let you know who we're doing tournaments anywhere in the city, or even in other countries. We're looking at going around Asia Pacific and running tournaments there too. Also, play Singpath. It's fun. It's fun. And give me some feedback. I would love to hear feedback from you, what you like, what you didn't like, what would you like me to implement. Also, we have just finished the new Java verifier, and we're writing content. And if you'd like to send a couple of questions in to be included in the path for Java, that would be fantastic as well. If you're interested in developing your own path, because you think the framework is kind of cool, it already works, we want to make it available for other people to write a path on the framework. So if you want to write a whole path on Go, or on an API that you want to use for an event or anything like that, just send me a note, let me know, and we can work on that. Any questions?
With that, yes, questions about anything.
Is it possible to create my own competition inside your Singpath?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so the way we're architected right now is you can write your own problems in like Python or Java. You can write your own verifier, which is, you got to sort of understand JSON, right? We just take the solution in the test, you pass it off to this verifier, which you could write, and it comes back and says, yes, all the tests passed, or they didn't. So yeah, between writing your own verifier and writing your own problems, you could hand out your own exams or hold your own competitions. The tournaments we'd have to talk about. That's a little bit more complicated. All right, we'll be around afterwards if anybody has any questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, so day's kind of dragging. It's a little late, but I want you guys to take a break because we have more snacks. So take a break for 15 minutes, come back here.